Alright, so for those who don't remember or watched the video prior to this, I picked up a Vespa off Craigslist about 3 weeks ago now, 3 weeks, a month, something like that. And it was a sold as parts or restore, and it's pretty rough shape. And one thing that was kind of missing was some tune-up parts for it to have spark. So I did a little bit of shopping, and we're gonna go start with seeing what we can do to start remedying some of its ills. And one of them was grabbing a manual for it, and the other one was it was missing points and condenser. And when I was looking into them for about another 10 bucks more, you can get a whole magneto system complete with points, condenser, coils, and everything as one package from Indonesia, not India, Indonesia. And I believe that was $29 including shipping. It just took, forever to get it. Well, anyway, that has come in now, and now we have some bits and pieces to try to continue moving forward to assessing what we have here. I think compression seemed okay on the motor, and that is our main goal right now. It's just to see if we can get it running and what kind of shape it is after we get it running, how the trans is, and that kind of thing. So without further ado, let's start getting into it. Looks like I did put some stuff back together. Yeah, one screw maybe. So my biggest issue I'm probably going to run into is the fact that it is missing the switches up on the handlebars. So my problem is I'm not going to know what gets connected to what as far as trying to make it recoup spark. So that's our biggest thing, is going to try to be able to figure out what we have to jump or ground or open circuit to make it so that it's going to have spark. So let me get the cover off and we'll get inside. So that's the old and that is the new. I'm just going to do an eyeball on it and see if it resembles what we have. I know when I was looking them up, they go by how many wires there are. There's like a 5-wire, a 6-wire, a 4-wire. I forget what this one is. I think it was 6. But it's looking pretty close to what was there. So let's start taking that apart. Alright, so I'm going to go compare that old one to the new one. Make sure our apples are apples and our oranges are oranges, and however that saying goes. That's supposed to go like that. That coil's got a lot less windings on it, huh? I'll try to keep my good headlight out of this picture. We'll use this crappy one because it works better on camera, hopefully. Yeah, it doesn't have any windings on it, huh? Compared to that. Looks good. I'd say we probably should pull that away from there. And it looks like the wiring harness goes up and out the side here into this little junction box. You guys can see that, yeah, that guy right there. So I think we start opening that stuff up, and we'll make sure that our wires match. So I took that cover off and I made myself a little cheat sheet of a wiring diagram. But as soon as I touched it, this screw broke right off. That one right there is already broken right off. So that might be a bit of what's to hold in the future for that guy. It looks like all the wires come through the bottom of it right here that are coming from that magneto plate and feed to each one of these. And then this one looks like it goes up to the ignition switch, and then when you saw right here, it's going down to the coil. So I am just going to take those apart a little at a time, feed that out of there, feed the new one in, wire it back up, and then we'll start looking into what we need to jump or bypass, or even maybe just give it a spin and see what happens. So I have that kind of half-assed installed, but it's up in there. The harness comes up through and it's reconnected up into these points up inside here. Now, I'm not really concerned about any of these other than the red circuit right now. The other ones are for lights and charging and all. But looking in the manual over there, the red is power ignition power. So the wire that was on there, what did I do with it? This one was the one that was going to the coil, and it's just about ready to break off of there. If I screw with that one more time, it's gonna glare out of me. It's just gonna be done. It's done now. So I just made up a new piece. The closest I had to red was orange. Orange is not used anywhere in this equation, so I think I'll be safe there. Anyway, so those are all kind of hooked back up to where they went. If you follow red down, you'll see red pops out through that backing plate, goes to the condenser. It then swaps over to yellow, and I'm trying to think which coil it was. I believe it's this one right here is for the ignition system, and these two are for something else. Actually, no, there's the points. So this coil is going through the points and into the condenser and then out, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, so red also goes up to the harness, and at one time had a control switch up here, which would have been like probably the horn, high beam, low beam, kill switch, etc., etc. They're all kind of tied into there, but I don't have that. So going into the book, let's go, and I might as well show this page first. So number 4 is red, and this is what we just replaced. There's that little junction box right there. So number 4 comes up off of that top coil. It looks like is number 4. Then it uses the condenser, goes around through the switch, that switch block rather. You can see one end goes out to the coil. This is the wire that we just made, and then it jumps out. 4 goes also continuous up, around, back down into that switch where we don't have. But if it looks like it just goes right to ground. So I'm not sure if you ground it to kill it or you ground it for it to operate. But one way or another, that's how that is tied into that circuit. And if we go back to the magneto itself, number 37 is ignition coil, which I think is the one that was on top. You can kind of see, and that's the one that's energizing our spark. So I am going to go through the process of reinstalling the flywheel and try to get a decent point gap on it, and then maybe we could spin it over with the plug out and we'll see if we start getting any spark. So let's try to go bolt the flywheel back on, and the nut is encapsulated in the flywheel, and then it's got a locking ring for it, and it just wasn't happening, so I had to go take it apart, take the nut right out of it. And it appears to me that someone took the time to roll that last thread over there, or maybe tried starting with the impact gun or something to try to get it catching, and they couldn't, and they took out the end of it right there. So we're not going to go any further until we get that cleaned up, so let's go do something about that. Well, hopefully this works out. This right here you're looking at, it's called a thread file, and what it has is just different coarseness to match whatever thread you run. A coarse thread, fine thread, quarter, 20, 24, metric. So how I go about using this is quick and dirty. If you just lay it right on the threads, you'll find one that will just lock right in and it'll key itself. See if I can do that now. I don't know what's showing. Can you see how like that doesn't want to drop in, doesn't match? That doesn't. That doesn't. And all of a sudden, that one's on the money and it falls into each and every groove, matching the thread. So now that I know what one it is, I could take that, keep it on the other threads, I won't get you with my bad headlight, and use the other threads trying to do this with you guys in a way. Use the other threads as a guide, and you can just kind of go around it. And what that will do is it will line up the bad threads and start cutting and cleaning them up where they need to be cleaned up, because you're using that for a guide, and work that all the way around until you remove the material, until the nut will fit on. So that's what I'm going to continue to do for the next couple of minutes. Get you a little after the fact there. Focus. So it was just kind of a two-handed deal, and just stroked it nice and even and firm, rotated it, hit it some more, kept doing some more. Yeah, it's kind of one of these deals. And then went back with the air gun like you just saw him blow it out. And I'm going to try putting the nut on backwards and see if it'll start backwards. Just because I would think that possibly that the end of the threads of are screwed up. And I want to make sure that I have this part good before I start screwing with that. So I am going to take that for a little bit. I pop the bike in gear too to keep us from turning. And work that, kind of clean that up so you can get that to work on there. Let's see if we can get that. So it recoups its threads. Last thing I want to do is cross thread it again. Now, if you can see it, there's a little bit like a fine metal. I can see one standing right there. That after it's done, kind of just works its way out from in between the threads that is material that's not supposed to be there. I just clean that back off again. I think that should serve us just fine. What do you think? Alright, so let me get the flywheel on there and see if we set the point cap. Alright, so we're trying to that point adjustment, trying to get the light on there so I don't bleach you out, but you can still see it. So that's one side, that's the other side. If you look in between there, that should be, I haven't looked it up yet, but like 16 thou, 20 thou, something like that. That's about a quarter of an inch. So we should be able to move the back. Screws loose. We should be able to rotate and close that mass up. Should look on and make sure there's not some cam adjustment. Make sure that is right there. I need to look inside it a little bit better. But anyway, that's the gap we're trying to close. Well, I must say, that must be one of the worst set of point setups I've ever seen. The gap was about a quarter of an inch in the middle of its adjustment. Of course, I went to go pull it down and it wasn't having it. I actually had to take them apart and kind of bend things a little bit just to make the points so they open and close, but the gap is still like way too large. It's like 25 thou, but it is closing. So hopefully now we're to the point where, all right. I don't know if that's showing up for you guys. I can tell you it's showing up for me. We're getting a nice little spark going on right there. So that tells me that maybe I should take some crap on the bench, move it out of the way, and we dribble a little bit of fuel inside here, and we give it a kick and see if it does anything. All right, let's see. I know you guys love my light, but a little bit of that. The wires are so stiff they don't even want to bend. Some of that. What do you think? I saw spark jumping across there too. It will run. Okay, get that wire up and off. Let's go do it one more time. Why not? This is two-stroke gas. For the inquiring minds who want to know. You guys set the timing on it too. That whole plate can rotate back and forth about 1.5 inches. So I just kind of split it, put it in the middle. Alright, let's go slide that up there to help keep from the arcing. It's supposed to be arcing. Touch it. How about we do that? Alright. There's the money shot. All right. So, I'm happy with that. You know that putters makes noise and spins on its own. We're gonna go open that carburetor up and go see what's going on inside there. All right, let's make this quick. There's a good Neil Young song on. All right, so the air cleaner's off, and it looks like it's being held down right there and right there. I see an air-fuel mixture adjustment screw here and one down the back there. And it looks like the fuel line I could remove by taking the end out right there. Looks like that's probably the choke cable, and that is probably the throttle. I'm not sure of this, I've never had one apart. So I'm gonna go remove those and see if we can get that sucker out of there and up on the bench. Alright, so I've never had one of these apart before, so you and I are gonna learn together what does what. I'm gonna guess that I have a piece of screen under it. Yep. Need a pick. A pick. Okay. Got a bunch of dust and powder up in there. Coming out. So there it goes. It's all frozen. So I would say it was put away with fuel in it. And it's a good thing we're going in. Not that I don't think we would have a choice. I think we were going in no matter what. Trying to save the gasket. That looks like it continues under that right there, so that's got to come off first. There's a big little turd on the bottom of it. Now that's a little bit of sludge. Not terrible though. Not corroded. Got a bunch of mud in it, but I wouldn't say that it's even the seat move. Alright, we're gonna go pop some jets out of it. And we are gonna go get our little soaker tank down. Looks pretty good. God, it wasn't even tight. Well, that's good. It's not a pile of corrosion. We should have counted how many screws that was. Going back in. What do you think? Take the slide out of her. It's like a fairly well built carburetor. Not mousetrap. Alright, so I think we should be down enough to where we can soak this thing. Get that out of there. Is that like that's a choke. Probably a plunger that blocks off a vein or something. Yeah. Cool. Alright. Gonna give her a bath. Alright, well that stuff's soaking. I decided to start chasing some of the other things. I shut the paper towel down the intake there where the carb was so you don't get any caca in there. You notice that whole container is kind of looking a little on the schmooey side. So I'm going to clean that out, and while I was here I kind of sprayed the cable setups. The throttle was not rolling back. Sorry. So now the throttle's rolling free. Just doing this thing on that side. Choke cable, got that working. And the fuel line, I don't know if I want to mess with this. I think I'm going to try to get to the gas tank. We'll look and see what the other side looks like, because it's got like a, removable. It's not doing anything anyway, is it? The cable's really brittle. I was worried about that clamp being on there, but that clamp seems like it can slide right on down. Alright, well that's not much of a worry anymore. Anyway, gonna get into the gas tank and we'll look and see what the inside of that looks like, and the end of the fuel line, and yada yada yada. I want to set something up so I can at least prime some fuel for let it run for a minute or so and kind of see what we got, and you know, go through gears, tweak it, that kind of thing. Alright, bolts are out. That all sounds good. What do you got inside? Hey, look, OEM paint. Fuel line's just kind of hanging there on the bottom. The hell is that? That was a fuel line hooked to that. Got a rubber plug in the bottom of it, like a boat. That's what it is. I think that's what it is. All right. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Alright, so the gas tank will need some loving for sure. I think it's repairable. It's not too terrible in there. Yeah, I think it's usable. Will we need to order parts? Sure, but we can work around that for now. We can feed that carb with something else. See if we can get that gas line off that fitting there. See if we can get this out of here. And then we'll attach that to something else. So I am going to do that two-handed. I have to, maybe I'll put a little heat on that and get that guy out of there. So I saved you the trouble of me poking and prodding and picking at it. People are going to ask what I use for the cleaning the carb. They sell these in like AutoZone and, you know, Napa, I think, and all of them sell it. It's just cans that have a basket built into it with cleaning chemicals. I've tried a whole bunch of different stuff, but anyway, a little basket in it. That's what I'm using. I'd like to get a nice ultrasonic cleaner. I had a Harbor Freight one, didn't last very long though. So I'm constantly on the lookout for a nice medical ultrasonic cleaner, but till then, that's what we're doing. So let's go put this thing back together. See if you guys are in a good spot. What do you think? You want to look a little closer maybe? And I'm going to try to remember to be just either below or to the left of that bowl. Alright, came out pretty clean. And again, you and I are going to relive how to put this back together. Should be even fresher in your mind than it is in mine. Because you guys just saw it. For me, it's about 45 minutes ago. Hopefully the compressor does not decide to kick on. We'll disconnect that air to try to help that. Alright, I want to set the needle and float back in bar. I need to tap it. A little something. A lot of levels kind of, when you flip them upside down, they should be level. But I'm going to blow through it in that direction and let it hang down. Actually, that's not going to work because it has to go through that top piece first. So when we're all together, we are going to check that. Jets, you got to get jets back in here. Let's see who goes where. I bet you the biggest goes in the biggest. And another one will follow suit. And I think we had another one right in the middle there, didn't we? Was it? Okay. That's not it. That's not it. Is that it? I thought there was two under there. Oop. There's a little one. I need the good old snap-on screwdriver. Where'd that go? It is back there. It's got no shoulders on it, so it can fit right down inside there. That one's tight. We got a little one. I think a little one went there. Let's see, that is correct. I thought there was another little. It's probably that one I'm thinking of. And those two will be going over the top of that, once the if the screw's in the middle, that could not have been in the middle if the screw's in the middle, right? Deduction work. Although it looks like it goes there, it's an optical illusion. Guys that take these all apart are probably, take them apart a lot are probably laughing at me. Good luck. I'll start somewhere on them. And we're going raw. We're not even using a manual. Who's a manual? Alright, what else do we got to do? We can set that gasket on there inside this guy or something like that. How did that work? Isn't that guy like... I need to remember. So that went something like that. But that has to see it first. The gasket's ripped on the back side, but we are just going to have to work with what we got. Okay. You didn't see that. We didn't need that. Alright, so that has to go in and around like that. We're not looking to make it run forever. We're making to make it run for right now. We order parts. Is that it? That's not it. Not it. Just give me a screw to hold it in place. There we go. I think we can put that guy on. And we got the choke and the throttle plate. Leave that loose for now. Let's do It's taking too long for you guys? That guy has to go. And that we want to move. That one's fine. And that'll be fine. I'm not shoving my head in the film. So where we got the intake, just to go back together. And we don't need an air cleaner. What about that? We got that guy. Let's see what that's like. That and that. I should really go right over it. Looks like it wants to fight a little. There it goes. I felt it. Kind of like hangs over the lip of it. And we got 2 big adjusting screws left, right? I believe so. That's the little one. That goes right there. And then we got the large one that goes into the top. I think we may be ready to make a go of it. I have a gas line set up on the handlebars. It's filled up to right here right now, and I have backup just in case. I set up a drill instead of me trying to kick it and all. I can try to drill start it, and hopefully I can kind of finagle and fondle to get it to grab the throttle, stay running, tweak it, and get it, you know, in the ballpark. Timing's way out. I know the tune is way out, but again, we're just playing and see what we got and go from there. So without further ado, I'm talking. Let's see what we got. We're going in the right direction. That's a step in the right direction. Let's turn off the choke. See if we'll go without it. I had no way to shut it off. I didn't want to yank the coil wire. It's starting to get hot now because the cooling fin's not on it. But how cool is that? That's good. Let's open, let's get some air in here. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna go make myself a shopping list. We're gonna regroup on this one more time. Oh, several more times, but so now I know I got a good engine, drivetrain, that kind of thing. I'm gonna start chasing a bunch of the other parts. It's worth, you know, continuing forward on this, so that will be it. So you'll see it pop in and out in the future. Again, it's all when the stuff shows up. It takes a while to get here, but I think it'll be a worthwhile project. Sounds pretty good, huh? For however long that's been not running.